Good morning, everybody, and thank you to our Vagaro presentation. We're live today with the two blondes, Catherine and Eileen, from the Profitable Salon Owner, and we're known for being the two blondes with passion.
We have that in spades.
We do, and it's always been our motto, though, to get salon owners profitable.
Fast. Very fast.
Yes. So, welcome to today's live webinar.
Can you hear us?
Can you see us? That sounds like a song.
Yeah. Could somebody just shoot me a message if the sound quality is okay?
Yeah. And thumbs up.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Oh, we can't
somebody,
see them.
Somebody,
yeah.
Please.
That's your thumbs up. Send us a message. Just yes.
No, maybe so. Nobody loves us. There's no action on the side. There we go. Yahoo. Okay. We're rolling. Today, we are really excited because Catherine and I are going to be talking about customer service and the guest path experience. But the trick is that this is a huge topic for us.
It is a very big topic.
Because customer service and guest path experience is the whole basis of our business. So we've decided to actually break it into 3 webinars. So today's webinar is going to be devoted to sort of the overall whys.
The why, yeah.
The whys and the start of the guest path experience. Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about why the guest path experience is so important, because
it's your brand.
It is our brand. Customer service is our brand. I mean, let's face it, we are never going to be the Unilevers of the world, the Kellogg's or the Porsches or anything like that. We are not big enough to build individual brands, but the customer service that we provide can completely set us apart from our competitors and make us special and unique, which in the end is about a brand.
And that you need to, that's how we go about branding ourselves, is how are we different than everyone else? And are we better at certain things than everyone else? And it's not all about a great haircut or a great facial. It's about the whole experience.
Everything there. So here's the question. Are your systems supporting your brand? And of course, as you probably know, if you've been following any of our webinars or our blogs or whatever, you'll know that Catherine and I believe that everything needs to be systemized.
Absolutely. Systems, systems, systems.
You got it. And that means our customer service has to be systemized. And, you're extremely lucky if you're on this webinar. It probably means that you're a Vagaro client. So that means that you have systems available at your fingertips. The question is are you making use of the systems that you have available?
Yes. And most of us could. There is always room for improvement.
Most of us could use a kick in the butt.
Yeah. Most of us could.
And there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think one of the things that happens sometimes with systems, and you and I, we've been guilty of it ourselves. We think, okay, we put this system in place and here it is. We've got it rock solid. It's working. And then we forget to assess and judge and develop and change.
You have to constantly go back and say, is what I'm doing working now? Is it current? Because that is going to be the whole basis of this for us today is, just because you put something in place 5 years ago doesn't mean that it's working for you today.
Well, and I think, we had such a great discussion about the Ritz-Carlton earlier today. And I think that is the perfect example of really what we're talking about, because the Ritz-Carlton is probably one of the most world-renowned customer service experience companies around. They have developed incredible guest experience.
Yeah.
But what happened was, as they were moving forward after 5-10 years of having this exceptional system, they were starting to get negative feedback from their guests. We'll have to talk about negative feedback from guests later. And so what they did was they looked at what they were doing and how they were using their language, et cetera, and they made language changes. They made shifts in their system to accommodate new ideas, to accommodate the younger clientele that are moving up. There's all these things. So we constantly have to be open to the new ideas. Yes. So although we talk about systems, nothing is ever set in stone.
Yeah, they're always shifting, they're always changing, but it's the fact that you have a system in place that you can follow, and you can go in and make changes on the, you know, when you think that something is not working for you. But the only way you know that is to ask.
Yes.
You know, ask
Yeah.
your customers if
Yeah.
it's working for you.
You know, Catherine and I have often called it the yellow brick road of our business, because there is definitely a path that we take our clients through as we head through the salon. From the moment we first meet them, whether it's online, on the phone, in person, there is a way that our guests are to be treated from that very first moment until they are no longer our clients. And I don't just mean each of their guest experiences, but the entire length of the relationship in between the business and the customer.
Absolutely, Eileen. And I really believe that, you know, we are a hospitality industry. People are coming into our business, and we need to treat our customers as valued guests. You know, totally treat your customers as valued guests, not just the client that comes in for the first time and we are out to impress. You need to impress every single time.
Right.
And
what did your mom always say about guests and family?
I'm not sure. What did yours say?
Well, my mom always said, you know, you treat your guests like family and your family like guests.
There you go.
Right?
Perfect.
Because, you know, and you think about it. And that in a way also relates to what we're talking about here in this slide, because underneath it says treat your staff as your number one guest. And really it's the same thing. What we want to do is treat our employees and our staff as our number one guest, because they are the forefront of our business.
Totally. And I have followed Richard Branson for years and years. And that has been the premise of everything that he has ever done, is he treats his staff as the most valuable asset to the business. In turn, those staff treat his customers, the end user of the service, the same way that they are treated.
Exactly.
So,
when you're treated with respect, regard, and as if you are a valued member of the organization, you turn that around and you pass that on to the other people. And I really believe that, you know, we all live up to the expectations set upon us. And when somebody treats us exceptionally well, we live up to that. So, as a staff member, we have to really think that we're the number one guest. We're also the ones that talk about our business the most, right?
Yes, absolutely. And if they're happy,
and you know
that will pass on to the staff. So we've shared these numbers before, but it is really important that you understand them. 86% of consumers quit doing business with a company because of a bad customer service experience.
Now, Catherine and I love to collect customer service stories.
Yes, we do.
Because, you know, when we're out and about and we're visiting, you know, coffee shops or stores or whatever, you know, we're always really aware. And the one that really, really, you know, sticks out in my mind is that I won't mention the retail store, but it was a national brand. And we were in there one day and we were so appalled, and we kept looking at each other out of the corner of our eye, rolling our eyes. And guess what? Neither one of us has gone back to that store to ever do business again, because we were so appalled by the customer experience that we had there. And you know what? We talk about it with all sorts of people.
Yeah, I really believe that you have to think about that. And because that one bad customer experience, that customer is going to tell 20 or 30 people about that bad customer experience. They'll talk more about their bad experiences than they will about their good experiences.
Well, and that's the kicker, because statistically speaking, if you give somebody a really great experience, you may be lucky if they tell 4 or 5 people. But if you give a bad experience, the average is they will tell 16 people about their bad experience. And what is it about us that as a society, you know, that we tend to focus on the negatives as opposed to the positives, but that's the reality.
That is the reality.
So we have to really think about that.
And it's even harder today. I mean, a few years ago it was hard enough because word of mouth would spread, but today word of mouth is actually social media.
Exactly. So you have to be very, very careful.
And you have to, and it has far-reaching consequences.
It does.
And you know, it was interesting. and some of the platforms are really good about screening out,
Yes.
you know, some of the really negative ones. But there's a couple of platforms, and I'm not going to mention names, but you probably all know that, you know, that
Really?
don't screen out any of these negative reviews, but they can really damage a company's reputation very quickly.
Now, the sad news, though, Catherine, is if you go to the next slide, is that 80% of us think that we're doing a great job with customer service.
Yeah.
80% of think that we're doing a great job. But guess what? Only 8% of customers believe that their companies deliver.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? There's huge room for improvement, but it also tells me one other thing, is that those 80% of those companies are not asking.
Yeah, they're not surveying.
They're not surveying. They're not getting feedback. They're not finding out what they're doing wrong. And therein lies the problem. Now, we're the beauty business. You know, we've been around for hundreds and hundreds of years because we've always wanted to be beautiful. And it's obviously working for the two of us, don't you think?
I never know how really old we are.
Hundreds of years. Anyway, you have to really think that, you know, we take so much for granted. We think that people assume all sorts of things about us as service providers. And we have to stop that assumption.
Yeah.
We have to start doing a business.
Yes, absolutely. We have to deliver on what we have to ask. Number one, we have to ask what our customer's expectation of us is. Mm-hmm. We have to know that.
Yes. Know being the operative word there.
Because you can't deliver a great experience if you actually don't know what they expect.
Yeah, and that actually goes back to, you know, what we were talking about with our employees. They need to experience it.
Yeah, I
think that we get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't we? Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
All right, let's move right along.
Sure. Did you just hit that? You did.
I did.
Okay.
It's very slow today.
Why do we want to have a customer guest experience? Because guess what? Loyal customers are worth at least 10 times as much as their first purchase.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just think about it. If a client comes in for the very first time, if it's a hair guest and they have color and cut, they could, you know, anywhere from $100 to $250, depending on your market, is their one-time ticket. So if they come in once or twice, you know, that's great, but then you're looking for a new client. But if you actually turn them into a loyal client, that could be as much as $2,000 in one client, $2,000 in a year. If that client stays with you for 10 years.
Well, that's $20,000.
Yeah.
$25,000. So if you think about the long-term value of a loyal client, you can see how important it is to continually make sure that you keep your clients happy and create the kind of experience that they're looking for. It is so much more expensive. It's 6 to 7 times more expensive to acquire a new one.
Absolutely. And it's the headache of constantly, you know, I call it trolling for new clients, because you're constantly marketing for new clients and looking for new clients. Take the time and put the time and the effort in to keeping the ones you have.
Right. You know, we talk about a lot of things. I'm always so surprised.
Can you tell we're really passionate about this?
Yeah, really. But, you know, you really only need around, I'm going to say average, 250 loyal clients on your database to have a really good, viable service business. Now, if you don't have that base of, say, 250, do you know how many one-time clients you need to service throughout the year to create that same kind of funds? Over 1,000.
Yeah.
Over 1,000.
Isn't that exhausting? That's
and
exhausting
just thinking
for
about
me
it.
to think about.
And then you think about the cost of having to troll for those new ones to come in. So are we not better served by creating such great value behind the chair or in our treatment rooms that create that sense that this client now, they're part of your family. They're part of your experience. So it behooves us to just to do the best job we possibly can. And that's what customer service is all about.
Yeah, and it doesn't even mean that you have to be the best service provider out there. I mean, if you make a client feel amazing, whether it's, you know, the way you interact with them, when they walk out the door, if they feel great, they don't have to have the most perfect haircut or, you know, the facial. They'll forgive you little discrepancies in your service, in your talent.
Yeah.
Or
skill, I should say.
In your skill. If you
make them feel great.
And I've seen it over and over. I've seen it so many times.
In fact, I think the number one guy that said this, you know, my favorite, Robert Cromeans, always said, I am not the best technician in the salon, but I do give the best customer service. And I think that's a very powerful statement. People want to be with him. They want to be in his care because he makes them feel fantastic.
Yeah. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
And that's why we want to break this down into 3 separate webinars, so we actually have time to delve into
why it's so important.
Yeah.
And I think this bottom thing is really the summation, Catherine, because 80% of clients will actually pay more to ensure a superior customer experience.
Totally.
And we see that over and over again. And you and I are, you know, we're 2 peas in a pod when it comes to this, because we would happily pay more to get better service.
Absolutely. I never, ever question it. If somebody treats me well and makes me feel good.
You got it.
Yeah.
We're on it.
We are.
What's next? What do you got for us?
Sorry, it's just my system is pretty slow today.
Okay, so here we're going to delve into a little bit about why it's so important to have your staff be your number one customer.
This is the basis for everything.
It is.
So your staff is your number one customer, because happy staff equal happy customers, which we talked about a little bit about. And, you know, I think one of the big things, and I've had staff most of my career, I've been an owner, so I've had staff, and you're not going to make everybody happy all of the time, but by taking the time to listen to what your staff are saying to you is one of the biggest motivators for people, is the fact that they feel listened to.
And you know, here's the thing too, is that unless we experience what a service is supposed to be like, we don't know what our clients are going to experience. So it's very important that we also make sure that each and every one of our staff members, whether they are service providers or their administrative staff or their front end or whatever, that they know and understand what the experience in the salon or spa entails.
Absolutely. And there's no better way to do this. And I have been doing this for many, many, many years. What you need to do, it's, you know, words are just that, words, but everybody's interpretation of a word is slightly different.
For sure.
So I believe that what you do is you model the experience. So you walk them through what your guest path should look like. What does that mean? That means taking each new team member and give them their own experience.
Take them through, give them the shampoo and blow dry or color or whatever it is. Give them the facial, give them the manicure or pedicure. Allow them to experience it so they can feel the emotion of the service, because how better to be able to explain it to a new client coming in than to share the emotionality of their experience.
And this is particularly true of anyone that works at the front desk.
Here, can't say this strongly enough.
Your front desk people should have experienced every service that you offer, because then they can speak to the experience from an authentic,
with an authentic voice.
With an authentic voice. Thanks, Eileen.
So, you know, like I always think about facials, because facials are amazing. You do a great facial, you are setting the stage for a winning service, right? Yeah. So for somebody at the front end, somebody comes in and says, "What? I think I would like to have a facial. Which one should I have?" "Oh, I don't know. You pick."
Yeah.
But imagine being able to say, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
you know, why don't you try our blush sensitizer? Because I think you'll find that the exfoliation properties of the products that we use are so phenomenal. You'll walk away feeling like bliss. There is such a difference being able to use that emotionality because you've experienced it, as opposed to saying, well, yes, I think our, you know, like our blush exfoliator is just a wonderful service and I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think,
it's
and
really
when we're talking about, you know, authentic language, it comes across, and it is well worth taking the time to do this.
It is,
with all of your people. And you know what? If you are an independent contractor who's listening to this, all of this applies to you too, because you know, you're your own business. You're your own business, and you need to be able to kind of model it with your clients.
Yes, exactly.
So it's the same thing. And allow them, so you take them through the services from beginning to end, and you are going to not talk about the weather and you're going to show them exactly what it is that you expect from them. Expectations are huge. So they know what your expectations are.
Exactly. We won't touch language just yet,
no,
Catherine.
We won't.
But we'll get to it.
And so allow them to experience the level of care that you expect your clients to receive, which is huge. Everyone has a different interpretation of what that should be.
How many different salons have we been to and experienced a shampoo service?
And it's disappointing.
It is so unbelievable how different shampoo services can be from one salon to the other. I'm gobsmacked and obviously speechless, because to me, the most important service that we offer is at the shampoo sink.
Yeah.
And yet it is so rare to have an exceptional experience at the shampoo sink.
Yes, I completely agree with you, Eileen. And
I think you can make or break a service at the shampoo sink.
Absolutely. If you rush through something, that kind of sets the tone.
Exactly. So it's really important that your staff and everybody understands exactly what it is that you want to create at that sink.
And the big thing here is ask for feedback from your staff. You know, because sometimes, again, because we've done something for a long time,
we get complacent.
Yes, we get a little complacent. And it's great to get feedback. You know, what did you like? Is there anything you think we could have done better in that experience? Blah, blah, blah. It's really easy, but ask and then be open to receive.
For sure, because guess what? If somebody comes back with some feedback for you, be open to the fact that, you know, maybe they've got a great idea. Maybe there's something new that you can incorporate. You know, if somebody says, hey, go counterclockwise instead of clockwise, you know, maybe there's a real validity to that. So, you know, we have to be open to the idea of change.
Yes. And this is a really, I believe it's a really important, just modeling that experience is a very important step in taking you to that Ritz-Carlton type customer branding.
Exactly.
Service.
Customer service branding. Okay, I'll go with that. All right. Well, there's 5 steps to an exceptional service brand. And this is what we call our yellow brick road. It's the greeting, the consultation, the service, the close, the follow-up. Like, so we've segmented the whole path into little blocks that make it easier to break down so that we can create our system. Our next webinar, we're going to cover the consultation and the service. And then in April, we're going to cover the close and the follow-up. And each one of these little groups has a whole specificity to it and why we've created that. And customer service is such a huge concept.
Yeah. And they're all equally important.
Exactly. Because they go hand in hand.
They do. They go hand in hand.
You can't have one without the other.
Oh my God, we're tacky. So the consultation, I mean, you know, I'm a huge believer in the fact that the consultation makes or breaks.
Exactly. And is that not the one that ends up being neglected the most?
Yeah.
So what do you want to do today? Oh, sorry. I won't get carried away because we're going to do that next month.
Yes. And, the consultation goes hand in hand with the service, but everything kind of falls down to the close. If you've done everything so well, but you don't know how to close,
you collapse.
Yeah. And if you do a good close, but you don't follow up, then you drop off a few more.
Exactly.
So we just want to be really sure that we cover everything and give it the importance that it deserves, because I believe we do a whole webinar just around the consultation. I think it's huge.
It is.
All right. So these are the 5 steps. This is the yellow brick road.
The yellow brick road. And number 1 is the greeting. Sigh. I mean, you just think, okay, the greeting. Why? Why we got a whole slide on the greeting. But you guys, you have no idea how important the greeting can be.
Yeah.
There's so much to go into it, because how many times have we walked into a business and stood there and waiting to be acknowledged? And we're not just talking about our, the beauty industry. We're talking about any customer service type of business, right? We're waiting to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
And you have 3 seconds to make a good impression. 3 seconds.
3 seconds. Even if you're busy, acknowledge them with a smile. Aileen and I walked in to see Sophia the other day. Sophia was on a webinar with us a few months ago. Mm-hmm. And she is an awesome stylist and business person. She moved salons and we stopped by to say hello. She was busy with a client, but she looked up, she looked over, she smiled, and she said, "Ladies, lovely to see you. Just have a seat and I will be with you soon."
Exactly. And we moved off to the side. She dealt with her client and then came to greet us. But it was that acknowledgement. I mean, because you think about how many times you walk into a place and they're busy on the phone, they're doing this, they're that, and they don't even look up. They make you feel like, I don't know, unwelcome.
Well, they make you feel that we're an inconvenience.
Yeah, that's the perfect word.
It's inconvenient.
And yet, our guests are the lifeline of our business. That's why we're here. And really, all it takes is just to catch them in the eye and give them a quick smile.
Yeah.
You don't have to get off the phone. You don't even have to say anything. But, seriously, catch their eye, give them a smile, hold up a finger, just give them an acknowledgement that you see them. That
Absolutely.
They are seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're important.
Yeah. And smile, smile, smile. Do you know there is nothing better in the world than a smile?
Yeah.
When you walk down the street and you smile at a passing person, you walk into a business and somebody smiles at you. It is life-giving. A smile is life-giving.
Absolutely.
And
I make a point when I go on my walks. Mm-hmm. Everybody I pass, I don't care how miserable they look, I smile at them, because you know what? It makes me feel better.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And you never know how your smile is going to affect somebody either, right?
That's true.
Like if somebody's in a grumpy mood and you smile at them, you could change their whole day.
Yeah, and even when you pick up the phone to answer your phone, often we get busy and the phone's going and we grab the phone and it's like, "Thank you for calling Capilia, blah, blah, blah." And, or "Thank you." One of my partners does this and I have to stop her so many times because she's just that type of person. And she'll just pick up the phone and go, "Thank you for calling Capilia Victoria."
Yeah.
And I go, whoa.
Imagine you say that with a smile and it changes your voice. It changes the timbre in your voice, and people can hear your smile. So, it really behooves us, when we're talking about customer experience, is to create that with emotionality with a smile. Yeah. And there's no such thing as smiling too much.
Yeah. And use the client's name.
Oh, yeah. Catherine, your 230's here.
Oh, my God. I hate that. I hate that. It is so impersonal, but we hear it
all the time.
All the time. And it's like...
Well, guess what? I've had a name change. I'm going to actually legally change my name to 230.
230. It is just so bad. And we do it unconsciously.
Exactly. But this takes a little bit of thought. you know, and it's part of our guest path experience. When we're systemizing things, we're going to use that. We're going to make note of what that looks like. And we're going to make sure that we use people's names, because I don't know whether any of you remember that old show called Cheers, but the part of the song is, this is a place where everybody knows your name. And one of the most important things that you can do as customer service is know your client's name. Everybody wants to be acknowledged. So
absolutely. That is such a big thing. I have a gift with names. I remember people's names. And, you know, not everybody has that gift. Mm-hmm. You have to work at it.
You do.
But it is so worth it if you will just even, you know, make sure you know ahead of time who's coming in.
Well, I was just going to say, the thing is, again, with our Vagaro systems, we have the ability to know who's coming in. Right? So, you know, other than if it's a walk-in or drop-in or whatever, but even then there's a way to handle it. But what we need to do is get in a little bit early, check our appointments, and see who's coming in today. Who are the clients that are going to be gracing my business today? And
the other thing is, if you're not very good about remembering names, print off a list of your clients for the day. Yeah. So you can have it at your station, so you actually can follow along, so you know. And I think that's just so important. That's like number one for me, is like feeling, when I walk into a business, feeling a little, you know, important, that they value me, they care about me, and they know my name.
Exactly.
So it's huge. And the other thing is, take their coat and offer them a beverage. If you are not working on a client, try and always take their coat. It's difficult if you're an independent contractor and somebody is walking in and you're with another client. However, you know, as much as we can, please do this. Just treat them as they are a guest coming into your home.
And there is a way, even when you have a client in your chair, there's a way to ask your client for permission to step away for a second. You know, like if you're all by yourself and another person walks in, right? You know, you can just, you know, touch your client on the shoulder or just catch their eye and say, I'm just going to go and greet Mary. I'll be right back. And just step away for a second. You know, there's, you know, courtesy is the number one thing that we have to offer. Courtesy and consideration are the quintessential elements of customer service.
Totally. And it starts right in the very beginning. And this is so important for me, if they're a returning customer, know what they drink. Yeah. If you're asking them about a beverage, say, you know, Eileen, would you like to have a black coffee? Because that's what you drink normally. Mm. You know, for me, it would be an Earl Grey tea. And that would be like, oh, that's lovely. Thank you. I would love that.
And you know what? That captures people because they think, wow, they remembered. Yep. But guess what? Vagaro has excellent note-taking ability.
Yeah, use it.
Use it.
If you don't have a great memory and your clients have, you know, said that they were going to be on vacation or what their preference is in a beverage, you know, if they have other preferences, type it in. It is worth taking the time to know your clients.
It is. Today's customer demand an authentic, unscripted customer service style. Now, Catherine and I talk about scripting a lot. And the reason that we do it is because we find that it's really easy to practice a script. Mm-hmm. But what we really want to do in today's world is we want to create an authentic script, if you can think of that. But the important thing is I guess instead of the script, it's teach language and subject matter guidelines, right? Yes. Because we want to be able to teach, you know, how to ask open-ended questions as opposed to closed questions. We want to learn how to draw our clients out. So Catherine and I are actually moving away from the word scripted, and we're moving into more along the lines of subject matter guidelines. And what's the other word? Oh, I know, language engineering. Yes. That's what we want to talk about, is language engineering, is finding out, you know, how do we use language that that brings out the best in our clients, that we get to know our clients better, but also guides our clients.
Yeah. So language engineering, I think the difference between it's the difference between informal service, giving informal service, you know, and slacker service.
Yes.
You know, so you have some language and you know exactly what it is. You have a punch list of things that you are working from, or guidelines that you're working from. But in that, you can use your own language. So it's not stilted.
So it doesn't come across as stilted. And that's been the biggest problem, is because people think, oh, with a script, you have to memorize this and memorize that. And really, that's not the concept, is that you want to have a familiarity with the language that makes it your own. So that you understand what you're talking about. So when you're talking about a balayage or ombre service, there's a consistent method of quality that you talk about amongst all the service providers in the salon. So everybody's on the same page. So one person isn't saying, oh, my ombre looks like this and your ombre looks like that. You're creating this consistency. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. It's, you know, it's the language of your business.
Right.
And everybody has their guidelines. They don't all have to say it the same, but I think it's really important that you all use the same guidelines.
Exactly, so that you create the same picture in the end.
Now, Aileen and I have a whole, 30 pages of scripting that we wrote a number of years ago, which is still
viable.
It's still viable because it gives you some of the language, and then you just
twist it,
rework it to make it yours.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because you get so used to saying something that when you put the emotion on it, it becomes yours.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. But it's such a big...
I do want to say one thing here, Catherine, about language, because I do believe that the language that we use and the topics that we talk about, there's 3 things that really need to stay out of our business.
What's that?
They're topics: religion, sex, and politics.
Oh, yes, for sure.
You know, you think about, we're in the beauty business. What do we talk about in the beauty business? We need to be talking about fashion, the client, what's going on in their lives, because often we're their sounding boards or whatever. But stay away from controversial subjects. I'll tell you, there's nothing that can kill customer service and a client experience than offending somebody with your political choices or whatever.
I just had this the other day. I was party to a conversation, and it was actually somebody talking about religion. And there was a Jewish client in, and they were talking about something that was anti-Jewish.
Ouch. And
it was very uncomfortable, and it just should never have happened.
No.
And it was a young staff member. However, you know, that young person should have been given the guidelines. It wasn't in my business, but that young person should have been given the guidelines to know that was not a subject that should have been talked about in the salon. For sure.
And I actually have a horror story of my own, because a couple of years ago, I sent a girlfriend to a salon for experience. And afterwards I asked her, I said, well, you know, tell me about your service. She said, I probably just had the best haircut and color service I've ever had, and I'll never go back. I was really, really taken aback. She was so offended by the language used in the salon and the conversation that was going on around her that she was absolutely appalled. It was so foul.
Yeah. So there is a perfect example. It doesn't matter how great your service is. If the experience surrounding the service is not to somebody's liking, they're not going to stay.
And I know you're going to kind of think, oh, you know, what's this have to do with customer service? But it's everything, because as customer service, what we want to do is create a feeling of emotionality. In today's world, one of the things that we're finding out is retail is falling by the wayside. More and more retail centers are closing. Malls are in trouble. Everything is changing. But what is really doing well is the experience retail.
Yes.
People are looking for experiences. And we are so blessed as a service industry. We get to create experiences for our clients. Yeah. We are ahead of the game here, and we can absolutely own our businesses because we get to create experiences. And part of that experience is creating an emotional connection to our client. And as I said, you know, being in the beauty business, we are so far ahead of the game that here we go.
Yep.
Create that emotional connection with your client, and you will have a loyal client for forever, and they will feed your family and buy your home.
And part of the way that we can create this and make it seamless, you know, when we said model the experience for a new staff member, but make some training videos while you're doing that.
Well, this is the easiest way to do it, because if you make one video of what it is that you're looking for, then you can train your people with it over and over and over again. Yeah. You don't have to take the time to do it yourself.
Because honestly, you know, giving them the experience so they can feel it is great. But sometimes, you know, they don't catch it right away. So we can sit them down. We don't have to do it again with them. We can sit them down, and we can sit them in front of our training videos.
Yeah, and Catherine and I like this whole concept of, you know, when Susie Q blows it with a client or whatever, you know, to be able to turn and say, you know, Susie, do you mind if I make a recommendation? And perhaps you might want to sit down with this video and go over how we're really looking to create this. Check it out, see what you think, and maybe give me an idea of the scenarios that you're watching. Send them off, and then you can follow up.
And I've done this in my business for years, a number of years now, is we created our own training videos, and I'll tell you, it works, and it saves time and
money,
a lot of aggravation,
and money too, right?
Yes,
in the training, right?
Well, of course.
But it also, there's your consistency, and you can watch it over and over and over.
And it's easy to do it now. We all have like a phone that we can
take videos on.
Videos with.
You can have your own YouTube training channel. For goodness
well, that's
sakes.
what we do. Actually, we have a private YouTube training channel.
Okay, so the end result of great customer service
is higher customer satisfaction equals higher customer retention, which in turn for you makes higher sales.
And is that not what we're all about? Well, we do want to always increase our business, yes. Right? So if we can create this incredible customer experience and create higher sales, because believe me, a happy client will spend a hell of a lot more money with you. Where's the downside to having great customer service? There is no downside.
There is no downside. There's only upside.
There's only an upside.
And, you know, it may take some work in the beginning, but I will tell you, it will pay in spades if you do it.
The one thing that I think that we really need to reiterate and make sure that everybody understands is that we are talking about creating a system from beginning to end. And that means that that system needs to be written down somewhere. You need to take note of this, and it needs to be, what's the word I want? It needs to be, you know.
Yeah, it needs to be on paper or on a computer. It needs to be written.
Exactly. It becomes part of your manual.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are your takeaways from this? So hopefully these are your takeaways. Customer service is a powerful branding tool. And honestly, this mentality should influence all of your business decisions.
Absolutely. Secondly, a customer's opinion of your company is largely based on emotion. As we said, the emotion equals the experience. And I believe that customer service, creating an incredible customer experience, is in an emotion that you pass on. It's something called love.
Oh, it's Valentine's Day got you going all mushy. But it is. It's all about emotion. It's how you make them feel. And when they walk out the door, that is going to be what pulls them back.
That's right. We want them doing is it Jerry Lee Lewis? I feel good. Do, 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 do.
God, you are so crazy. Good customer service is the status quo. Like, you know, people expect to have good customer service, but it's making it a wow factor that turns it into a marketing and branding tool.
You got it. So if you have this exceptional experience systemized from beginning to end, you are going to create that wow factor. People will walk out of your business thinking, wow, that was a really great experience.
Well, let me just give you kind of a wow factor for me. I ordered some shoes online, which I don't regularly do. I wanted to try Fit Flop shoes. I love their sandals, but I wanted to try their shoes for standing at work. Mm. And so I ordered a couple of pairs. They were too big. So I thought, oh, I have to send them back. I'll tell you, they just made the whole experience so easy. They had everything there. They had the sticker. The DHL came right to the door, picked up the package to go back to the company. They have made the whole experience a wow. Because I have had totally the opposite experience with online purchases before, and I was like, I dread kind of having to return something.
And guess what? You have just verified the last takeaway. Most buying decisions are made via word of mouth. Catherine has just given a word of mouth referral to Fit Flops and their incredible service. There you go. That's living proof.
So I mean, those take it from, it was a good experience to wow, this. And I actually said that to the girl on the phone when I called to tell them I wanted to send it back. I said, I can't believe how easy you have made this for me. I don't even have to take my package and go find the DHL drop off. You're coming to me.
I know, like, how cool is that? Seriously. So take these away and really think about it. And we want to start you to get cracking, get some of these things in place, because next month when we get together, we're going to be talking about the consultation and the service. And it's a hell of a lot bigger than you can ever possibly imagine. The most important part of our customer guest path experience. So make sure you stay tuned next month. We'll be back on March the 12th, same time, same station. And in the meantime, you can send us a note at twoblondesales@gmail.com and support at Vagaro.com if you want some of the slides or whatever. Right?
Now, one thing, yes, the webinar will be available for replay. Absolutely, Chris. And one thing, a couple of people emailed me last time requesting one of the forms that I said that I would send out. And unfortunately, I had a glitch and I lost a whole bunch of my emails, and theirs was among it. So if you are on this, please resubmit and I will do that. I did not get that question. Can you resend that, or wait a minute?
Oh, is it? Oh, look at all these technical little icons.
Yes, I know.
Anyways, thank you all so much for being with us today. It's a holiday Monday here in Canada. It's Family Day.
Well, in BC.
In BC?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the rest of Canada celebrates it next week. I think next year we're going to go with the rest of Canada and have it on the same day. But in the meantime, Catherine and I are looking at a beautiful blue skies. We're heading out for the day to enjoy this, and we hope all of you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much for being with us.
And Chris, if you want to send me that question on my email, we will definitely get back to you on that.
You got it. Thanks, everybody. Happy Monday.
Bye-bye.